Hello! In this tutorial I will highlight what's new in EMS5 compared to previous versions. Let's start by logging in. You log in with your username and password as previous. And the first thing you will see when you get into Evatic is that we have replaced the task list with cards. Every task now has a card instead of a list view. The data presented on each card is still controlled by the task list format setting. You also see that the icons that you are previously used to having at the bottom of the screen is now replaced with one icon, and this icon is new. You will see this icon throughout the application. When you click on this, you add something. In this case, you add a task. The other icons are now collected under the menu. You see the planner, stock and messages, which are all controlled by settings in Evatic Admin. Calendar is also moved here. Machine history is renamed from customer machine, which is was called previously, where you can see now all customers' machines and their history. Preferences is still under the menu as it used to be. Settings and offline articles and get all articles are still here. And then of course the about functionality that I will tell you about a little bit later. Just close this menu now and go back to this window. You have also a sorting button up here. This sorting button you can also see in several other screens. It allows you to sort the data of the window you are currently in. In this case I can sort by all these different sortings. And it's only according to the task list. The other button here is the GPS tracking. There are settings in admin defining if you are allowed to turn this on or off. In my case, I'm not allowed to turn it off. This is the first new window. We have added some new features also to new task. So if I start clicking on new task, this is equal to what you know. I can search for a customer. I can add a machine. This is what you know. But now you also see the plus sign here, which allows me to add a new machine to the customer directly here. In this case, there is no new functionality in the new machine adding, so I will just click on the existing. You have the possibility here now to select contact persons and so on. Add a reference and some reference info. And you can continue to the symptom codes. And this is where I've added some new stuff. Looks equal. But when you open this one, you will see that you now get a search on top here. And this search field will appear if you have more than 30 symptom codes. So you don't have to scroll down to find the right symptom codes, you can search for it. So if I search for agreed, I will get the only one with this text in it. So I select the same way as previously. Another option we have added is that we have added a download button here. If I want to add and copy the text to the symptom text field, I can now click this one. So by clicking this, I select the symptom code and also download the text. Now you see that the text is also copied down to the symptom text field. Continue. Here, and now you can add and change a lot of data also in this window, and you can set a task title. So this is mine. In this window you can change the contact person, you can change the machine, you can edit the data you have added if they are not correct. If they are correct, you just click this accept sign and the task will be created. Another thing that's new in this version is that instead of going here and search for get new tasks, you can now just drag the screen and release it. and you will get a new task. Now you see you have 2 tasks in your task list. When it comes to the task itself, there's also some new stuff. The first thing is that the information button that you are used to having is gone. It's not here anymore. And that's because we have put the information in the task itself. So if we click on the task, you will get to the first tab, which is task information. Here you find information about the task. There are a couple of new stuff here too. To navigate to the address, just click on the navigation button and you will navigate to the address using Google Maps. The contact person connected to the customer is the contact person collected from the project header in Evatic Service. You also have a contact person on the machine, which is then collected from the machine tab. Let's see if we get down to the machine information. A little bit more. There we have the contact person for the machine, and they can be different. You can click on the phone sign and you will call. All the fields that are marked with a pen are editable. This is equal to the previous version. Which fields are editable or not are defined in Evatic Admin. In the Service Article tab, you don't see a lot of differences straight away because we still have the buttons. It's not a clock anymore like it used to be, but it works equally. Start and stop. And you can add, as you can see the green button is back. You add, and then you can manually add service articles. And this is equal to previous. What's different is the way to select date and time. Date is now selected to a calendar. Press OK. And time is now added this way. You click on the clock. We start at 9. OK. And we end at 12:40, for instance. So this is new, time picker. And you save. And when you save, you will see that also the worked hours are saved as cards. And to edit a card, just click on it and you will open it and you can edit the data. When working inside the task, you also see these 3 dots on the top right. If you click them, you will get some options. You can view project history. You can complete a task from any tab. You can return a task. You can sync order lines. And you can duplicate a task, then it's completely equal to the old one. Or you can create a new task. It will be a new task on the same customer. This you will see in all tabs from now on. Moving over to the Article tab. Also here you will see the green button. Pressing this green button, you will, depending on your setup, get these choices. And for instance, if I want to look at quick orders, these are articles and are connected to this machine model. Click on this one, I will get a list of all the quick order articles for this machine. So let's say I want to add this toner. Click on the toner. This window is equal to what you are used to. And I can now save this toner if I want to, or I can click this little menu and say I want to add another one. Then it will add the toner I've selected, and I will be sent back to the list, and I can also add the yellow toner. And I can continue like this if I want to add different toners. When I'm happy, just press save and all toners are saved. If I want to add another article that are not in my quick order list, I click the add button and now I can search for articles. And here we can also see a new button coming up. This one you will also see in other screens, and this is the filter button. If I click this one, I can filter what I want to search on. Do I want to search in all fields, or do I just want to search for article number, for instance, or name, supplier number, EAN number? I can also search for specific values in sort group 1 and 2. For instance, if you only want to search for consumables. When you search, you type in your search criteria here. For instance, a fuser. Click search, and you will get all the fusers. I can select this one. And let's say now that I don't have this fuser on stock, so I have to order it. Then I can click order, and I will save it. Then the order process will happen as normal, but in this list you will now see that the articles ordered are under booked and the articles used are under used. So in this way you will sort the articles in the list. It's easier to find which articles you have booked or not. Then we go to the Action tab, and here it's working the same way as the symptom code. You select the code you want to use. If you want to copy the text, click this one. If you just want to add a code, just click the code. Also here you have the option, if you have more than 30 codes, you can search. In this case there was not more than 30. The tab document has changed name to attachment, and the only big change here is that you have this green button. Click this one and you can take a picture or add a file. It's quite equal to the previous versions. In the meters tab there are some changes. First of all, and maybe the biggest change, is that if you are using mandatory meters, the mandatory meters are now only valid for machines under contract. So if you are doing work on a machine without a contract, the meters will never be mandatory. But as long as you have a contract, it can be mandatory. And in my case, mandatory meters is turned on. And since my machine is on a contract, you will see here it's mandatory. If the machine is not on contract, it will say optional here. It means you don't have a choice not to fill the meters. When it comes to filling the meter, there's here it says the number that you have to be equal or higher than. It's same here, equal or higher than this number. If you are using percent increase, which also a functionality you turn on in admin, then it will also tell you if you are going too high. You can read more about this in the help file if you don't know this feature. So let's start filling in something. It accepts this meter, and also it accepts this meter. Then we are ready to move on. In the checklist tab there are two new buttons. We have seen them before. This one is the sorting button and this is the filter button. They are used if you have many checklists and you want to sort or filter by specific things. You can sort by path and checklist code, and you can filter by mandatory and mandatory before setup, or both of them, code and model. If you want to add a checklist, you click on the green button and we add a checklist, and here you can select if you want to add the checklist to the machine on the task, or if you want to add a checklist to the task without a machine. But you can also search for any machine on the customer, and you can use this filter button to filter which machine to search for. You can also limit by customer, or remove this one and limit by all customers in the database. But I want to add it to my existing machine, and now I have the checklist. To fill the checklist is quite smooth. You open the checklist and you see all the groups. You select the first group and then you see all the checkpoints. You select the first checkpoint and then you start filling in. checkpoint 1, just on and off. Checkpoint 2 is a value, so I will add some value. Checkpoint 3 is also a value. Click this one. And now you will see that I'm done with this group. All the checkpoints for these groups are completed. Then I move on to the next group. Now it's time for signatures. I add a signature. And I move to the next checkpoint, which is also a signature. I add a signature here as well. And I'm done with the signature as well. Moving on, I'm back and the checklist is completed. And we can complete the checklist by going out and we move to the next tab, which is signature. The customer will have to sign for the job. You can set the signature mandatory if you want to. And if I click on the signatures, we have the possibility to have a satisfaction survey. How happy are you with the job? You click this one. And then there is an agreement that the customer has to validate. It says by signing this task, the customer accepts and so on. If the customer accepts, he will go there. And he will have to type his name. And the reason why I've added typing name is because a lot of the signatures are not readable. So we just add a name and then we can move on. And we can add the signature. And then the technician sign and we are done. The final step of working with the task is the Complete tab. In the Complete tab, everything is now on one page. Everything is here. You see the total amount of the articles. If you want to send a service report, email, everything based on how you set up the system. You can also see the total of the travel and working time. Since I didn't add any, there is nothing. And also the count of the articles. Total 4 articles are added to this task. 1 of them is booked and 3 of them is used. And you see the action text as well. You can now just complete the task. And it's done. I promise to get back to more news under the menu tab. So let's start with stock. In stock you have also a limitation button. When you click on this one, you can limit on what you want to search for. I want only to search for articles in my stock. Then I get a list of all the articles. Since we are using cards also here, there is no buttons anymore for shopping, adding more articles. But if you open an article, you will have 3 choices. You can order an article, update, or move, depending on your access, of course. If I want to order this one, I write 2 and I update. Go back to the search and let's say I want to update this one. I don't have 2 on my stock, I have 3. I update, go back to the search again, and then see if I have one that I have more than 2. This one I have 5 on stock, and one other technician needs this one. Open this one, and I move from my 2, for instance, dumbbell stock. I will move 1 article, and I save this one too. In the summary tabs, I will see all the changes I've done. I've done a stock update here, move 5 from 5 to 1. I move 1 to dumbbell. Here I've changed the status from 2 to 3. And here I've ordered 1. When I have done all my changes, I press this one. And the changes are synchronized into Evatic Service. Then we go back to the menu again. We look at the calendar. The calendar is different. If you open the calendar, you now have different views. You can look at work week, day, week, month, agenda, and even timeline. These are the different views that you can do, and you can work in the calendar for all views. If you click here in a day or a time, you can edit your availability period. That means add if you're on vacation or sick, and you can create a task. This works the same way as previous. You can also say I want to see a full day, and you will see the entire day. Looks better with the day view. Let's look at more under the menu. For instance, machine history. This is the one that was previously called customer machine. You search for a customer. You can search for a specific one. And you can search also for a machine. Let's take this one. And then you can see the history of this machine. These are all service projects created for this machine. If I open a service project, you can also see information about the project and the connected order. What you see is based on settings in admin. Then let's go back to the menu again. And select the About feature. The About feature are interesting information for support and for our technical personnel to help the customer solve issues. The first thing you see is the information about the installation. Everything but EMS, EM, database and Evatic service, and also the browser information. If the customer takes screenshots of these screens and send to us, it will be very helpful. Storage information tells you about the data stored on the device. Also very good for us to have. And the final part is the logs. Logs tells us what has been happening on the device. This is also information that is very useful for us. So please bring this forward to your customers. Well, I think that's it. I hope you have enjoyed this presentation of new features in EMS5 and that you are ready to start using this product. Good luck. Bye bye.